Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that had a lot of adrenal fatigue. They felt exhausted all the time. And they also reported feeling intense feelings of pent-up anger and that they were easily triggered. And knowing the background of the client, they had a pretty tough childhood and genuine moments that they were vulnerable and at risk. So having that ability to quickly be on the defensive at one point in their life was very advantageous. It was helpful for them, but things had moved on. And actually what was useful in one context was becoming a almost disempowering way, because lots of people would describe them as being confrontational or aggressive, and that wasn't their intention, but they were coming across that way because of a well-meaning coping strategy. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is a metaphor that uses a pendulum. And the nature of a pendulum, if you picture it in your mind's eye, whatever you lift up on one side tends to create a similar distance on the other side, so that if you've got a lot of anger, then it makes sense to have this kind of feeling of vigilance or confrontation because you need an outlet for that. And it really is replacing it with a more empowering way of seeing the world. And that is, rather than, you need to be defensive if you perceive yourself to be weak. And there was a time in their life when they were weak and they were vulnerable. But that isn't the case now. And actually, they had a lot of qualities that you could, on any spectrum comparatively, say, intellectually they're strong, emotionally they're strong, physically they're strong, and yet they still felt weak. And if you think of animals in the animal kingdom that are vulnerable, they either have armor or they have prickles to kind of keep them safe because they're not strong enough to do it any other ways. But if you think of a lion, or if you think of a mountain gorilla, they don't need prickles or armor because they have physical strength. So there's various metaphors going through here to really give a sense that actually the anger isn't needed, but there is a caveat. And anger has its use, and defiance has its use in the face of injustice to an abusive form of power. Now, if you have that kind of real empowered sense of defiance, and it takes courage to be defiant in the face of a stronger power, that's not cowardice, that's real courage, then that's still useful. It just doesn't make sense to be defiant or confrontational if you're actually the stronger one in that situation. That just makes you a bully, not a superhero, not a white knight. So there's various things going on here, but I think it really will help anyone that feels that somehow they've been trampled on, or kind of they have to be on guard. And just imagine how much resources it needs to be on guard all the time. That's exhausting, and probably the reason why this client was so exhausted. It was created for an individual. So if you feel like this is on the right lines but not quite right for you, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your body to release any feelings of stress or tension in that outward breath. Breathing out for longer, breathing in for deeper. Breathing in a wonderful feeling of resourcefulness. As you scan your face for any clues of tension, maybe your eyelids, jaw or forehead. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling, allow any tension and stress to just melt away. Feeling it leave your body. As you exhale, deliberately empty not just the lungs in your chest, but down in your diaphragm, creating a vacuum to enable an even deeper breath of resourcefulness coming in. The deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the more your conscious mind starts to hand over control to the power of your unconscious mind, which is infinitely more powerful than your conscious mind. Your conscious mind can think of 6 or 7 things at any one point in time. Your unconscious can ensure your heart beats at the rate it needs to. That you breathe to give your body enough oxygen. That all those complex biological functions all happen as they should, while simultaneously walking or moving or reading or doing something. And I want you to get a sense that your unconscious is doing whatever it feels is a reflection of your beliefs. That if you believe that you are weak or vulnerable, your unconscious will deploy resources to keep you safe, to protect. And if your unconscious believes you are strong, it can take those same resources and allocate them to different parts of your function. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a pendulum. But imagine a pendulum the same size of a house out in nature. Perhaps you could imagine a huge iron sphere swinging from one side to the other. And maybe the iron sphere is bigger than you are. And intuitively you know that the higher the pendulum swings on one side, the higher it will swing on the alternative side. I want you to get a sense that if vigilance is required because of weakness, maybe it would create more defiance on the other side of that pendulum swinging. But if there was a belief of strength, of powerfulness, of confidence, because vigilance isn't required as much, defiance and confrontation isn't required on the other side of that swing. So just breathe in and breathe out. And I want you to think of what's been fueling a belief of weakness are real moments of genuine vulnerability. And those moments of vulnerability where people with more power, more strength took advantage. The moments happened long ago, but the anger still remains. That the table of weakness is supported by the legs of anger. Not real anger, historical anger. And if that historical anger goes away, then the tabletop of vulnerability and weakness can no longer exist. It comes crashing down. I want you to scan your body for any historical feelings of anger, of injustice, of unfairness. And maybe there's a location or a sensation or a feeling. But given that we're going to let go of this anger, let's try and amplify it one last time. Sometimes anger could be in the temple, in the chest, in the jaw, in the gut. I want you to look for it, amplify it, bring it back one last time. Fireworks of anger taking place within you. I want you to think of those moments of the past that this anger is linked to. Times where you were weak, small, powerless. The anger can be true even if the belief linked to it is false. There was a time when you had genuine excitement at the idea of Father Christmas and tooth fairies, even if the underlying belief was false. Is it possible that you can have real anger built on a false belief of weakness? Were you weak? You start to think of those moments, and you think that you were never weak. You were just taken advantage of. And that's different. I want you to feel that the anger has served its purpose long ago and is no longer needed. And if your unconscious is willing to let go of that historical anger, let me know by nodding your head. I don't want you to feel like a pressure cooker that was about to explode is now empty of all of that pressure of anger. Just feel that pressure start to dissipate, like a helium balloon is being deflated. And if you can feel all of that pressure leaving your body, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then think of that tabletop of weakness and vulnerability. That without the table legs of anger, there's nothing to support it. So just see that table come falling down. That table of perceived weakness and vulnerability was one side of a pendulum that meant that all of that confrontation, that prickliness, that defiance was just an equal and opposite reaction to a belief that was never real. And I wonder what was really real and is real now. You were never weak, you are strong. You were never powerless, you were powerful. And I want you to feel a growing sense of strength, of power, of capability, so much so that the pendulum shifts. Because if the pendulum swings higher from a position of strength and power and confidence and capability, the equal and opposite reaction of strength is not aggression, it's calmness. That when you're powerful, the reaction is understanding and empathy. When you feel hugely capable, the reaction is patience when people are explaining something new. The goal is not to diminish your pendulum, but to introduce a new pendulum, a pendulum of power and capability and strength and confidence that leads to the equal and opposite reaction of calmness, of understanding, of empathy and patience. And if you feel that the tabletop and the pendulum have changed, and therefore the reaction to the underlying belief is also changing, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. So continue to stare into that pendulum, but a new pendulum. Imagine the old iron sphere replaced with a sphere of solid gold, because this new resourceful feeling is so much more valuable than the last. And therefore, changes can take place to steer your life into a new direction. And as you realize that you've released the grip of past anger, you feel a deep sense of peace and clarity settling into your mind and body. That letting go of confrontation feels effortless as you replace it with curiosity and a desire to truly understand others. Feel how good it feels that you no longer feel the need to be defiant in everyday situations, and instead feel open and interested in different perspectives. You are powerful and confident, and this inner strength allows you to stay calm and unfazed in the face of challenges or criticism. The idea of weakness dissolves completely, replaced by a deep knowing that you are capable and intelligent. And sometimes the most intelligent thing to do is not to correct someone or contradict someone. The intelligent thing to do is to allow people to continue on their path as you continue on yours, to give help or assistance if it's desired or requested. You choose to reserve your defiance for moments of true injustice, where your strength is needed to stand up for what is right. Outside of those moments, notice how easy it is to respond to others with patience and a willingness to understand their point of view. Start to feel a sense of freedom as you release the need to react with anger or confrontation to protect yourself. Your past no longer holds power over you, and you are free to respond with wisdom, calmness, perspective in the present. Consider yourself as a powerful animal in the animal kingdom. You are strong yet gentle, powerful yet calm, and these qualities guide your interactions with others. And when confronted with unfairness or an abuse of power, your strength rises naturally, unshaken and unbreakable. As you picture a strong, powerful mountain gorilla, it would be bizarre for such a powerful creature to feel threatened or weak by smaller, less powerful creatures. But if that mountain gorilla needs to stand up to a threat or a danger that is real, they have the power to do so. Outside of these abuse of power, you feel a profound sense of ease, letting curiosity and understanding lead your responses to the world. Giving yourself permission to trust yourself fully, knowing and believing you have all the strength and intelligence you need to navigate any situation. It becomes almost impossible to trigger you. As you release anger, you become more unflappable, grounded in the knowledge of your own power and capability. Confrontation feels unnecessary, as you are confident in your ability to handle any situation with calm assurance. And I want you to think of a person that for you represents this level of being unflappable, unfazed, impossible to trigger, cool and calm in almost any situation. And notice when you think of this person, that is not a weak person. It is a strong person. The smallest, weakest dogs bark the loudest. The strong, powerful dogs don't have anything to prove to anyone. I want you to get a sense that you are strong and powerful, and therefore it becomes almost impossible to make you bark, let alone bite. But if there was true danger, you would be willing to bite. They say it's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. You are in no war zone, but feel powerful and strong, and choose not to use your strength and power unless absolutely necessary. As you feel lighter and more peaceful, knowing that your strength is always there, but does not need to be shown aggressively. And as you let go of that past anger, it makes space for clarity and compassion, and you feel a deeper connection to yourself and others, feeling more in control of your emotions, calmly and wisely choosing when to act with strength and when to simply observe. Not every battle is yours to fight, and not everyone that disagrees is an enemy. Every day you become more certain of your inner power And this certainty brings you calmness and resilience. You are a source of strength, physically and intellectually, but that strength flows from a place of peace, wisdom, and unwavering self-confidence. I want you to imagine a situation that in the past would have caused you to react, either with defiance or confrontation or prickliness, and see that future version of you, like you're observing you, like you're someone else, cool and calm, not weak, strong but patient, curious. Notice your posture, your body language, unflappable. See yourself stronger than ever because there is no need for aggression or a feeling of being attacked. And if you can observe that future version of you in this new way, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to feel that those ideas of you being weak was like an old VHS recorder. There was a time in your life that it was useful to make you feel defiant and strong, even if it was for moments, but it was never the right tool for the job. It barely worked back then and is just a useless bit of old technology now. As you feel you've updated it with something that will actually be beneficial and work, and also true, that you are strong, you are powerful, you are capable, and the more you acknowledge that to be true, the more you will notice more energy, more vitality, and stronger connections in your personal relationships. If your unconscious mind is willing to accept these suggestions, let me know by nodding your head. It's now time to return to the present moment. As you still see that giant swinging golden pendulum, knowing that the new belief is now there, that an old tabletop of weakness is long gone, and therefore defiance is no longer necessary. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect fully with the present moment as you feel like you're returning to the present moment with all of these new beliefs and new ideas and new resources with you. As I count from 1 to 10, starting to count 1, 2, 3, waking up, 4, 5, 6, more alert, 7, 8, open your eyes, 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.